Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon to those of you in Central and East Coast time. I'm still on Pacific here in Arizona, so it's morning for me. But thank you all for joining today. You should be seeing my presentation screen in PowerPoint. I am going to give it just maybe 1 minute more to see if more of the registrants come in, and we will get started. Just so everyone's aware, I am recording today's session, so your microphones are disabled just to avoid background noise, but please use the Q&A function within Teams to submit questions, or you can do it through the chat as well, whatever's easiest for you on your end. Questions are highly encouraged throughout the presentation. I will leave some time at the end to answer all questions. That way I can just go through the presentation and make sure we have enough time to cover everything. And just a reminder for those of you who were not on our first inaugural session last month, we will be sending out the presentation slide deck and the recorded training session after the actual tea time. Sorry, not training session, tea time. And we are also adding all of these recordings for the monthly sessions into your dashboards. So these are going to be able to be found in the support area of your dashboard. I'm actually going to show you real quick while we're waiting. But here under support, if you click on your little drop down arrow, you have your sub tabs up here. You have your ticket. Hopefully this is not unfamiliar to you guys. This is definitely something that's available to all current performance tracker users who have a dashboard. We also have our resources sub tab if you need links to the survey or email invite, anything like that. And then there will be a third sub tab here for tea time recordings. It's going to probably be training materials as the sub tab. So just keep a lookout for that. We will send an email announcing it once that is live. All right, well, I am going to go ahead and get started now that we're at 11:03, and we've got just a short 30 minutes with you guys today. So welcome, everyone. My name is Taylor Clifford. Hopefully, I am not an unfamiliar name to you. This session is really designed for current performance tracker clients who are users in the platform, who really want to get a little bit more out of the system. We really thought that this would be an opportunity not only for you guys to engage with me, but with you using the system in and out, making sure that you're logging in and really getting the full value of the platform. And one of the things that's really exciting is that Performance Tracker is constantly in development and changing and growing. So we go over new feature releases and everything like that, one of which I am lucky enough to share with you today. So let's go ahead and get started. Today's session is going to be centered around a little bit of a continuation of last month's. Last month, we went over our first top 3 key driving metrics, which are NPS, Net Promoter Score, OPS, Overall Performance Score, and TVI, Total Value Index. Today, we're going to actually dive into the other metrics that are tracked within Performance Tracker, which, as I mentioned last time, actually comprise your overall performance scores. So I'll only spend a little bit of time on that because I know that most of you have been in the system a while. You've all taken my training sessions, hopefully when you were onboarding or when you had a quarterly training session, anything like that. So that should all be repeated information to you. What I really want to dive into a little bit deeper today is lead generation. It is a component of the survey with Performance Tracker, and there are a lot of things that you guys can be doing in addition to what we offer at Performance Tracker, in addition to what Johnson Consulting is really all about with helping clients to just help you generate more leads over time. So we're going to go over why lead generation is important. I am going to show you a new feature that's in the dashboard surrounding lead generation, which I'm really excited to share with you guys. And then we'll dive into some marketing insights just to make sure that you guys are fully aware that all of these resources are available to you guys in Performance Tracker. So just diving back into our CX metrics, and for those of you who may not know, CX does stand for Customer Experience. Performance Tracker X is really built to be your company's or your location's CX platform, and where you guys manage the entire family experience from start to finish. I am going to call out one of our attendees that's in here today because I saw she joined first. Kim with Springfield. They're one of our clients. And one of the things that I love that Springfield as an individual location does is that they really center so many things around customer experience. Kim's role there is actually solely for family experience and making sure that families are not only having the best experience possible, but that they are constantly learning from the families that came in and seeing where they can improve. So it's just a very aligned with where Performance Tracker has their philosophy, and really what I try and drill into a lot of the users that are on the platform as well. This should not this should not be unfamiliar to you, as these are the sections of the survey that your families are all receiving. So the initial contact questions, the arranger or service experience questions. So if you as an individual arranger, this session is meant for all role types. So we might have funeral directors on here. We might have service counselors from cemetery, or location managers or executives. So if we have any arrangers on here, that's really the section that you guys see when you log into your dashboard most often. Then we have overall staff and services ratings. So not just that individual funeral director that the family met with, but overall, how was the entire staff, every person that they met with. Operational and facility needs. So any vehicles or ground service areas, walkways on the cemetery side, anything physically on site that either needs improvement or the family was either happy or unhappy with, they rate those sections as well. This 1 to 5 scale is what each of these sections are rated on. And as I mentioned last week, the 1 to 5 scale does equate to a certain number of points that eventually roll into your overall performance score. So these points are averaged throughout the entire survey, and it equals your OPS. So that's how that key metric is calculated. Going into the first section of the survey, something I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into is first impressions, because first impressions are extremely important in any kind of customer service scenario, but specifically with death care and with the loss of a loved one, because emotions are so heightened, that first impression can really set the tone for the entire experience that the family has. So we definitely set a really high expectation on first impressions, whether that be the funeral director themselves, who's ever at the front door when someone walks in, who's ever answering that first call. I mean, it might be a third party answering service who's taking your call maybe after hours. All of those things, regardless if they're in your hands or within your control specifically, they do make an effect on your families. So those things are rated on the survey. And this is just a little blurb that I actually took out from Green Book. And they had some really interesting articles on customer experience. And I'm just going to read it out to you guys real quick. People tend to remember the first thing they experience in a sequence. So a negative first impression could be the only thing a customer remembers. Humans can lay down conscious memories whenever a non-conscious emotion progresses to a feeling, such as grief. This can happen at any time in the CX journey. However, how the CX journey commences becomes the filter for all subsequent experiences, and therefore is vitally important for both framing the journey and minimizing the negativity associated with any dissatisfaction. So essentially, it's going to heighten either their amazing experience that they have with you, or it's going to make it, no matter how hard you try and win that back throughout the service, that first impression could have left a bad taste in their mouth. So we do have in your dashboard not just the initial contact rating scores on that 1 to 5 scale, but we also within your results tab, this is something that is only available to location manager users and executive users. But if you get with your location manager, they can pull what is essentially your report card. And if there's anyone on this call who doesn't really know what I'm talking about in terms of the results tab, or what I often refer to in my trainings as the report card, just let me know and I can show you that by sharing my screen over to the dashboard at the end of the call. But you do receive an overall performance score for each section of the survey too. So, if you have an overall performance score for the entire survey, that's high, that's great. But where are the areas of opportunity within the sections that you need to improve on? If it's first impressions, then, you might notice that in your score. So that's something that you can dive a little bit deeper into. But just keep in mind that these are what we rate for first impression, and that's a really important piece of the entire customer experience journey. Overall staff and service interactions. Now, this report or module, as we refer to it internally, should look very similar or very familiar to any arranger user level people who might be on the call today. So this is one of the first reports that you see when you log in as an arranger. You can see your arranging driver questions rated over time. Now, right below this, there is another module similar to it for staff and services, and then vehicle drivers. So you can really track and keep an eye on what's affecting your scores. Maybe you have perfect 5s across the board on the arrangement experience, but families are really dissatisfied with the physical location, and those scores are a little bit lower. So it's just something you want to keep your eye on, and definitely something that you as an individual employee can be using in your performance reviews with your management team. And, I always encourage location managers to be using this data when they have either quarterly or annual reviews with their teams. And all of that is centered around, that's exactly the voice of the family is what is rating you on that data. So it's your family's opinions of you, not necessarily your manager's opinions of you, which that's really all that matters in the end, is making your families happy. So it's really valuable data to be using in those reviews, either for your advantage or for areas of opportunity that need improving. Now, I know I went over that first part kind of quickly, but I was really just trying to get to the lead generation. Before I move into this section, though, are there any questions on those first pieces that I talked about? Does anyone have any questions on your dashboard reporting, needing to see the results page, anything like that? I'll give it just a minute here to see if anyone's typing. Alrighty. When I said minute, I meant like 10 seconds, but I'll be back in here in the Q&A section if you need anything throughout. So lead generation. Why is lead generation so important, specifically in death care? In general, obviously, lead generation is how you're going to get business. In any kind of organization, it's super helpful to increase sales and really see if families that you're already serving or customers that you're already serving are interested in doing more with you, are interested in more products or services that you might offer. So generating leads does help maximize your business's growth overall. That is going to help revenue growth over time. I know that that's a little bit more important to maybe a location manager or an executive than it is the individual funeral arranger. As far as I know, and I've been with Johnson Consulting for about over 3 years now. Woo, I just hit my 3-year mark. But I actually did not come from death care prior to Johnson Consulting. My personal experiences are within surveys and business and customer experience. So and hospitality. So all of those things rolled up kind of into the performance tracker philosophy, and here I am. But I've learned a lot about death care over my 3 years of being here, and specifically from our Johnson business consultants who really help shape the entire company as a whole. We consider our business consultants to be our North Star, and the rest of us are here to support them and add to what they can provide to our customers. So one of the things that I have learned is that your business is not going to grow unless you guys are generating leads over time. And that includes not just making your families happy, but it does include new heritage as well. So I know that current families that are being served, especially on the cemetery side, tend to return to you. And I mean, we have it in our data. Previously served is by far the largest reason why families choose funeral home locations and everything like that. But on the cemetery side specifically, new heritage is the only way that it's considered growth. And we actually talked about this in our Monday meeting this past week. And Doug Miller, who's one of our Johnson business consultants, said this quote down here: "Once you bury someone in your cemetery, the chances you will capture the rest of the family is very high. That's not growth. That's maintaining. You have to bring in new heritage in order to grow." And I really connected with him saying that because I see that so often in performance tracker. People often come to me, users will come to me and say, "Hey, these last two questions at the end of the survey aren't really that important because we know that we receive business from previously served families." Well, yes, but where else are you receiving business from? And how can you make that piece of previously served families improve over time? So these are just some examples and I guess benefits to lead generation. So expanding your client base, enhancing brand visibility and awareness, collecting and managing social media reviews, which overall will increase your SEO. Just a quick tangent from that, our next monthly tea time will be centered around social media reviews and increasing your SEO over time. So I'm hopefully going to see all of you guys there, and we will discuss more about Google reviews, social media reviews in general. Improving your conversion rates. So once you receive a lead, how many of those leads actually do convert into new business opportunities for you? And then seizing potential new business opportunities in terms of, funeral homeowners either expanding their business or joining or partnering, I should say, with third-party vendors, anything like that. All of those are really why you want to focus on lead generation. And with performance tracker, you can continue to do that, and you can do it even better than what's naturally occurring with your business right now. So one thing I do want to say though, and I did lose track of what I was saying earlier with arrangers. When I joined Johnson Consulting Group, the business consultants really drilled it into me that funeral directors and cemetery service counselors care about one thing. They care about being there for their families and serving their families, which makes sense. I mean, you don't sign up to do this kind of work unless you really care about the end user experience, the end family, and the relationship and the care that you're providing to that family. So I know that a lot of times arrangers focus on how their families are perceiving everything and just caring about their family. That's great. That's what you need to be focusing on. Location managers and executive users, however, are focused on lead generation, and it does trickle down to the arranger level too, because if the arranger is providing that outstanding care that they love to provide, that they're so passionate about, then it is going to naturally generate leads over time. So no matter what your role is in performance tracker or within your funeral location or your cemetery location, lead generation is relevant to you, even if you don't directly think it might be on a daily basis. What kind of leads do we generate here with Performance Tracker? So, one of the things that is coming in 2025, and I'm really excited about, is a little bit more in-depth benchmarking, and that's going to be available to you guys in your dashboards. My team and I are working on designing some additional benchmarking that's not just, hey, what's the average? What's happening, on the average level throughout the country in funeral care, cemetery care. One of the things that we really wanted to focus on was how can we bring the data that's in our system to you guys even further? So you're looking at a snapshot of the full scope of Performance Tracker, all companies included. So it's over, I believe, 1,400 rooftops, and that's in both the U.S. and in Canada. So it's a lot of rooftops on funeral and cemetery. It's a lot of funeral directors working and a lot of companies generating leads. What you should see here and take from this is that 35% of leads generated are pre-need leads. So that's not just an actionable lead, that's direct money in your pocket if you can get that pre-need signed. A lot of people who are not familiar with death care do not even know that pre-need's an option. I had no idea that pre-need was an option before I started working for Johnson Consulting Group. So I didn't know that you could pre-plan your entire funeral and have it prepaid and not have that be a burden for your loved ones. So I think that that's definitely something that individual funeral homes can be advertising more, can be sharing more about. Even in the arrangement experience, I know that that's a little bit tough just because they are really focused on the loss that they're dealing with in the moment. But I'm just trying to. I'm a planner. I have a history in event planning. I'm a project manager for J3 Tech, so I love to plan ahead, and I promise that there's a lot of other people out there who like to be prepared as well. So just keep that in mind when you're going through. But just as a reminder, our survey does ask these questions on whether or not families are interested in receiving information from you guys on these areas. And that's really what that lead is. So this snapshot of this module is actually a new module that's available in your dashboards right now. It's not available to arrangers. It's actually only available to location managers and executive level users, but it can be found in your executive summary tab. Here, I'm going to pop over to Medallia real quick to show you. I'm going to log in. Now, if I'm in my executive summary tab as an executive level user, or my survey performance tab as a location manager user, then I'm going to scroll to the very bottom of that tab and see our lead generation chart. So that lead generation chart can be filtered by location if you have access to multiple locations. It can even be filtered at the arranger level, so you can see what leads are being generated by arranger. Some companies I work with are starting to do little internal incentive programs based around that. So every time you generate a pre-need lead, then you get your name entered into a raffle. Or yesterday I was actually meeting with someone who I was meeting with someone who was also partnered with our business consulting team, and he was telling me and Vince that they actually offer their employees a half day off of work whenever they either get their name mentioned in the survey, I think, or generate a lead. So that's definitely something you should keep your eye on. Managers, I'm not going to tell you guys how to manage your teams, but I think that that incentive can really motivate teams if you're looking to increase your pre-need business, or any other of these options that are available in the lead. So with that new feature, if you guys have any questions on it as you get into your dashboards and review it, just let me know. It functions very similarly to the report that's right above it for marketing, which we're going to go over next. But you can always use the three dots in the corner to export this chart if you need to, and you can calculate it based on percentage or sample size. So if it's filtered to sample size, then you'll see the number of records that are related to that one area. Which is really useful if you're using it for incentives. And this stat up here, super important. 1 out of every 8 surveys completed in 2023 generated an actionable lead on it. So our director of operations at J3 Tech here recently calculated this for us, and we were just kind of blown away by that stat. We would like to see it go up even higher, but that's really great for us to see, and we're hoping to blow it out of the water for 2024. So let me know if you guys have any questions on that. Now the chart I was just mentioning on that last slide, this is our marketing insights chart, again, available to location managers and executive level users. You can filter to the 2 marketing questions within the survey. How did you hear about us? And what was your primary reason for choosing us? And you can see here, like I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, previously served is by far the largest of how families are going to hear about you and why they're going to choose you. But what I really like to focus on, and I'll mention this again next month when we talk about Google reviews, social reviews, and search engine optimization. But I would really love to see this percentage go up just for performance tracker in general. I know that in death care, it is on the rise for sure. A lot of our partners within the business, within the profession, are really focusing on digital. There's so many companies out there focusing on SEO optimization and digital marketing for funeral homes. So, I mean, I've always thought that death care, especially, you know, me coming into this profession, having not known anything about it prior, that there is a certain level of, you know, behind. Like everyone in this profession is a little bit behind when it comes to being digital. And I noticed that right away. We're about 20 years behind the rest of the world on going digital. We still send paper surveys as a backup option for families who are not digital. And it does take a little bit of time to get not just our industry to move, but to get our families to move, because some of the older generations are the ones who are most often losing loved ones. So not all of them are fully digital yet. So it does take time, but the industry as a whole, the profession as a whole, is definitely going digital, and something you guys should always keep an eye on and try and just make sure that you guys have a good online presence, not only with your online reputation and reviews, but that your website's up to date, that it's functioning appropriately, that you guys are displaying testimonials, not just from the survey, but maybe from families who are giving you feedback on site, having those available on your website, all of those things. So we'll dive into that next month just as a preview, but this is one of our features, and it does relate back to lead generation as well. So now that we are at time, I have about 2 minutes left if there are any questions, but I always like to conclude these sessions with just reminding you that you can submit support tickets to our support team. If you are locked out of your dashboard and cannot reach your support ticket, it's perfectly fine. Just email support@j3techsolutions.com. You will reach me. Most likely I will be the one to respond to your support ticket, or my partner in crime, my director, Allison, who I believe is on the webinar today, or our development team as well. Our full development team has access to support. So it's most likely going to be one of us who is reaching back out to you and getting that solved. And we do have a SLA and a service level agreement with you guys to make sure that we're getting back to you within 24 to 48 hours, just making sure that we're trying to get your problem solved as quickly as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up for Q&A. I see that there is something in chat. Will you be sharing this deck at the end of the call? Yes, James, I will be. So from our marketing email, I believe it came out from Allison, that will be sent to all attendees and everyone who registered for the event today. So you will get the PDF of the slide deck itself, and then you will get a recording of this call. Then I will share again. I shared this at the beginning of the call, but it was before everyone jumped on, I think. So under your support tab in the dashboard here, We will be adding a third sub-tab for training materials, and that's where you'll be able to access any of these recordings from this month, last month, and then moving forward. So we're really excited to bring that into the dashboard and to provide you guys with even more resources here. And as a final reminder, there is a sample survey if you ever want to take the sample survey of whatever version your organization is sending out. And then you can always download an email invite. If you share this email invite with your families, that really is going to help your response rates over time. I love to always throw this in, just give them a visual of what they're going to receive. The email it's going to come from, the family care team is what we brand as sending the survey. And if they're prepared to receive this, they're not going to think it's spam, and they are going to take their time to complete it. So that'll help over time as well. Let me flip back to our screen here. I don't think there are any other questions in the chat. Nope, we're empty here. Does anyone else have any questions before I let you go? If not, feel free to jump off. Thank you guys for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I look forward to seeing you again next month.